Om Shri Sai Ram, offering most humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our ever-present Lord, invoking Bhagwan's presence and benediction in this holy satsang, respected elders and my dear sisters and brothers. Firstly, I offer this talk on the topic, the Bhava of Bhakti at the divine lotus feet. What is it? What is that ingredient in our sadhana that makes us live in the awareness of Bhagwan's omniscience, omnipotence, and omnipresence, and also not to forget omnivigilance, because Bhagwan is always watching over us. What is this ingredient? And we all know about the Draupadi Swayamvara, isn't it? King Drupada, the father of Draupadi, he wanted to give his daughter to that prince. He would win the test that he set out for the princess. The competition was, whoever wants to marry Draupadi, he had to hit the eye of the fish, the revolving fish, looking at its reflection in a plate of water down below. If he does so, he could walk away with Draupadi. On the eve of Draupadi's Swayamvara, Lord Krishna tells Arjuna, "See Arjuna, tomorrow when you go to the arena of the competition, you take a step forward and you concentrate only on the eye of the fish." And Arjuna asks, see, look at the arrogance of Jivatma in the presence of Paramatma. "Oh Krishna, you are telling me to do everything, and what can you do for me? How will you help me?" Then Krishna smiles and says, "I will do what you cannot do." Oh, what is it that I cannot do? See the ego, the doership of human in the presence of the divine. Like all of us, we tend to do all this all the time. Then Krishna smiles, broadens, and he says, "I will keep the water steady." See, what is this ingredient in our sadhana that makes us realize that the Lord is the inner prompter, the motivator, the doer of all our actions, however small, insignificant, or however big, however mundane or however spiritual, however worldly or however otherworldly. What makes us realize this fact that we are mere instruments and He does everything? If there is an ingredient in our sadhana that makes us realize this aspect, that is bhakti. And today's talk is all about this bhakti, its various bhavas and nuances, and its glories and mahimas, and its benefits, and some of bhakti practices. And with this brief introduction, I once again offer this talk on bhakti at the lotus feet of the one who is the thinker, who is the doer, who is the speaker, and who is the listener in all of us. Firstly, how does Bhagwan define bhakti? Bhagwan says in the word bhakti, the first syllable, bha, stands for Bhagwan, God Himself. Then kti is from the word anurakti, which means love. So bhakti is nothing but love for God. And what makes bhakti so special or so unique a sadhana? Swami himself clarifies. Swami says, see, all the forms of spiritual learning are like reading books on cooking. And the real act, the proper act of cooking is developing devotion to the divine. So Swami asks, what is the use of mere reading of these books when you do not take up the actual cooking itself? This is the greatness of bhakti in any form of sadhana that we undertake in our spiritual life. And who is qualified for bhakti? See, if we take the path of meditation, dhyana yoga, we need to do a lot of homework. We need to do a lot of basic preparation to qualify to do meditation. Firstly, we need to overcome mala, the impurities of the mind. We need to purify the mind. Chitta shuddhi is necessary. And then we need to overcome vikshepa, the wavering nature of the mind, so that we are able to concentrate, to get chitta ekagrata. All this is quite a hard work. And take the path of knowledge, jnana yoga. One needs to be a sadhana chatushtaya sampannadhikari to engage himself in the path of vichara. What is this sadhana chatushtaya? The fourfold qualification of viveka, vairagya, shamadamadi shat sampatti, and this burning desire, yearning for liberation, that is mumukshutva. And how many of us have got this qualification? Or how many of us even strive to acquire these qualifications? But take the case of bhakti, we don't need any qualification. In fact, bhakti qualifies us. Anybody can do it. Everybody can do it. That is the beauty of bhakti. And wherever we are, whatever we are doing, whenever we want, we can practice this bhakti. This is the greatness. This is another very profound bhava of bhakti. See, jnana is compared to a king. See, one fine day when a king says, I will come to your house tomorrow, we need to do a lot of work. We have to probably repaint the house and order a new sofa set or an ornate chair for the king to come and sit. And we need to decorate the house, and we need to prepare a lot of goodies and delicacies for the Lord. And jnana, like the king, comes and spends a few minutes. That's all. But bhakti, the word itself in Sanskrit language, it is in strilinga. It is in feminine gender. So bhakti is like this maid servant. What does a maid servant do? She will come to our house, have a look at the house. Oh, I have got some work here. She will clean the house. She will dust the house, mop the house, swab the house, and decorate the house. She will keep everything in order, and she will prepare the house for the Lord to come. So bhakti is like this. Once we open our heart to bhakti and let bhakti come inside, she will cleanse our heart. She will purify our heart, and she will prepare our heart to receive the grace of Bhagwan. This is the beauty of bhakti yoga. And it is also, bhakti is also described by Bhikshu Pada Prasarana Nyaya in Vedanta. Bhikshu is a wandering monk who begs alms. And when this wandering monk once comes to a house and says, I am tired and exhausted, give me a small corner in your house for me to stay. Oh yes sir, please come, no problem, you can rest. And he says, Pada Prasarana means I want to stretch my legs. Can I do this? Yes sir, no problem. Then he will say, I have this little image of Krishna in my bag, and I need a small place to install this image. Oh yes sir, it is such a holy act, you can do it. I need some flowers from your garden to worship my Lord. Oh yes, you can by all means take it. Then the bhikshu will say, see, I need a place in your kitchen to prepare some naivedyam for my Lord. No problem sir, you can do it. So once bhakti comes inside like this bhikshu, without we realizing what is happening, the bhikshu has taken over the house. And this is what happens to us once we let bhakti inside our heart. This bhakti takes over our entire being, and we feel this beautiful bhakti bhava always in us. And how does this happen? Bhagwan himself says. Once, Sri Al Drucker, a famous American devotee of Bhagwan, you would have heard of his name. He has compiled this book, Sai Baba Gita, Bhagwan's teachings on the Bhagavad Gita. He asks Bhagwan, Swami, we know that we love you because we feel this love in our hearts for you. But Swami, how do we know that you love us? And Swami, with a compassionate voice and tone and a very beautiful smile on his face, Swami clarifies to Aldrikar, see, it is like this. The very fact that you feel love for me in your heart, that is my grace. That itself shows, I love you. Because, Swami goes on to say, because none can love me without my loving them. So what does it mean? The seed of this love for God is sown in our hearts by Bhagwan himself. And it is up to us to foster this seed, nurture it, nourish it, so that it becomes a healthy sapling and grows into a mighty fruit-bearing tree, fruit-yielding tree, and also shares its bounty of bhakti with everyone around us. So this is the responsibility. This is one of the responsible bhavas that we get with love for God. And now, once bhakti is there, the love is there inside our heart, what happens is, the next bhava we get is the feeling of mamata. Mama means mine, means we tend to personalize God. Just as we say, this is my child, this is my home, this is my property, we even start telling, this is my Swami, this is my God. We personalize God and we relate to God in various ways which is dear to us. Like Bhagwan becomes Mata, Pita, Bandhu, Sakha, everything for us in whatever way we relate to him. So Bhagwan would say, some of the subtle bhavas in bhakti are Shanta Bhakti, that of Bhishma, the serene, mature bhakti, and Vatsalya Bhakti of Mother Yashoda, and Dasya Bhakti, the bhakti of servitude, the feeling of service, which the example Bhagwan gives us, Hanuman, and the Sakya Bhakti, the friendship Bhakti of Gopalas in Vrindavan, and the most important, Swami says, the Madhura Bhakti, the mellifluous devotion of Gopikas. These are some of the subtle bhavas of bhakti we ourselves relate to when bhakti enters our heart and when we let it grow and intensify in our hearts. When the bhakta says, Swami, I am yours, please take me, Swami, the Lord also responds saying, yes, you are mine and I am yours. That is why Swami would say, the bhakta binds God to himself. How? Through this prema pasha, the cord of love. That is why Swami would often compare bhakti to the path of the kitten. Just as the mother cat carries the kitten wherever it goes and tenderly protects her offsprings, the same way the Lord protects his devotees. Yoga kshemam vahamyaham is the mighty assurance of the Lord to his bhakta. Vahami in Sanskrit is to carry. The Lord says, I will carry the burden of your welfare once you are devoted to me. So this is the mighty assurance bhava, the great relief that comes with bhakti to a bhakta. And now, once the bhakti is there inside, how do we grow spiritually? How does it help in our spiritual sadhana? Bhagwan says, faith is the bud. Love or devotion, bhakti, the faith is the seed, and love or bhakti is the bud, and the flower that comes from this bud is nothing but surrender. So what happens in us is self-transformation takes place. How does it happen? Once we love God, we develop unflinching faith in Swami, because we know Swami is in charge of our lives. He himself has assured us he will take care of our welfare. So we know whatever happens in our life, whatever happens, all that happens for our highest good, we need not worry about it. And from this unflinching, unshakable trust comes the next bhava, that is implicit obedience to the commands of the Lord. A true bhakta, a true devotee, tends to test every thought, word, and deed of his on this touchstone. Will Swami be pleased if I say this way? Will Swami be pleased if I act this way? So what happens? We tend to purify all our actions. We will tend to refrain we refrain from those actions and thoughts which will not please Bhagwan, which all those negative things and the undesirable things, all that is out of our life, all that we would do if we don't have bhakti, all that is out. This is implicit obedience to the commands of the Lord. And there is this beautiful incident from the life of Sri Rama Brahmam, who was a very loyal, faithful, great devotee of Bhagwan. He was the caretaker of Vrindavan ashram for close to 3 decades. And once Swami calls Rama Brahmam, and Swami gives his robe to Rama Brahmam and says, "Come on, wear my robe." And this Rama Brahmam is a very well-built, hefty man. And he is about to say, "Swami, how can I fit into this?" And Swami says, "Nothing doing. You are devoted to me. You are my devotee. Come on, wear my robe." And with trembling hands, Rama Brahmam takes the robe. And he somehow tries to push his big head into the robe. And as he puts on the robe, to his pleasant surprise, the robe starts expanding and it becomes a perfect fit for Rama Brahmam. So Rama Brahmam said, "See, if you are devoted to Bhagwan, if Swami tells you something, you immediately obey it, you do it. Because if he gives you some work to do, if he tells a devotee to do something, he will see that it is done and he will do it." And this is the bhava that comes with surrender in the path of bhakti. Sri Ramanujacharya, the propounder of qualified non-dualism, the Vishishtadvaita Vedanta, which lays great emphasis on bhakti, he said a bhakta needs to have these 6 characteristics to develop the spirit of surrender. The first one is anukulasya sankalpam. You have to do what is right. Pratikulasya varjanam. You should not do what is not right. And rakshisva iti vishwasaha. Have the firm faith and conviction that the Lord will protect me, come what may. And atmanikshepaha. You have to transfer your responsibilities to the Lord. And goptritva varanam. You have to select God over everyone and everything in your life all the time. And all this has to be done in karpanye, with utmost humility. So this is what we need to cultivate when we progress in the path of bhakti. And now let me list certain subtle nuances, certain splendors or bhavas of bhakti as explained in the scriptures. The first one is akshaya. This bhakti never decays or diminishes. It only multiplies and intensifies. See, nobody says, I was in love with Bhagwan more yesterday and today my love is less. No, bhakti never diminishes. It always only multiplies with the growing moment and growing day. And next is this Sneha Bhava. I don't know how to translate this Bhava into English. We can probably say there is certain warmth in our heart, certain glow in our heart, which makes us yearn for bhakti more and more. And we say bhakti is enough for us. We don't need anything in our life to progress spiritually. I'll give a small example. Sri Madhusudana Saraswati, a great scholar of Advaita Vedanta, he has even authored one of the greatest works on Advaita, Advaita Siddhi. He was such a great gnani, and he once said, see, to me, the vision of the blue boy of Vrindavan, who is playing on the sands of river Yamuna, that is enough for the fulfillment of my life. I don't need anything else. We all know Sri Shankaracharya, the propounder of highest Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, non-dualism. He composed one of the greatest works on bhakti, Bhaja Govindam, where he says, when it is time for you to depart from this world, just chant the name of Govinda. Only that will save you from samsara. And we all know Bhagwan would often narrate this episode from the life of Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Bhagwan said, see, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he was a realized soul. He was a Paramahamsa himself, a great gnani. But Ramakrishna would say, see, this Lord to me is like a block of jaggery. And I want to be this little ant, always licking at this jaggery and tasting the sweetness of the Lord. And he always wanted to be identified as a bhakta, however great a gnani he was. And the next bhava in bhakti is, it is nitya nutana, it is evergreen. And nobody says, I am bored of bhakti. Yesterday I was feeling good and today I am bored. No, every day this bhakti, every moment is bhakti is nitya nutana. It is so new and fresh for us. And the next is, there is this vakrata in bhakti. Vakrata means a small twist or a spice in this bhakti bhava. That means whatever the bhava that Lord has for the bhakta, sometimes the Lord may be annoyed with the bhakta, he may be angry with the devotee, or he may even reprimand the devotee. All this that becomes enjoyable bhava for us. We don't mind whatever happens to us in bhakti. All these bhavas, all these nuances are welcome in bhakti. All this vakrata or the twist, we learn to enjoy when we have true bhakti for the Lord. And the next one is abhaya. Fearlessness comes with bhakti. Bhagwan would often give this example of little boy Prahlada. When the dreadful Narasimhavatar appears before him, everyone trembles in fear except Prahlada, because he loves the Lord. And with this love, with this bhakti comes fearlessness, the bhava of abhaya to us. And then the devotee will be ready to go to any extent to please the Lord in genuine bhakti. Once the students of Bhagwan had put up a convocation drama, and one of the students who played the role of Parikshit, he had only a small role in the drama, just through a 2 or 3 minutes role. All that he had to do was, the hungry, thirsty Parikshit comes to sage Samika asking for water, and the sage is absorbed in deep meditation. So Parikshit gets angry and he throws a snake around the neck of sage and he walks away. Only that was his role, a very brief role in the drama. At the end of the play, Bhagwan calls this boy and blesses him profusely and even materializes a chain for this boy. And everybody starts wondering, there are such great roles and characters in the drama. And how this small role, how this boy was the recipient of such a special grace of Bhagwan. Then Bhagwan himself clarified, see this boy who played the role of Parikshit. He wanted to please me with his role. He wanted to bring reality to the role. He wanted to be really, hungry and thirsty on the stage. So he did not eat or drink even for a whole day because he wanted to please me. He wanted to bring that real bhava to the role. And so the bhakta goes to any extent to please the Lord. And also the devotee is always concerned with the welfare of the Lord. He wants to protect the Lord, safeguard the Lord. See, just before Bhagwan's Mahasamadhi, when Bhagwan was sick and hospitalized, then millions of devotees all over the world, they started praying for Bhagwan's recovery. They conducted homams and yajnams. Why? Because every bhakta is concerned about the welfare of his beloved Lord. And one of the teachers of the institution shared this incident with us. There was an old lady, a poor lady in one of the remote districts of Chennai. And we all know Bhagwan brought drinking water to Chennai, and she was one of the recipients of this drinking water project. And when she heard that Bhagwan was hospitalized, he brought a small bag of money, which was probably her lifetime earnings. And she came and said to the Sai Samiti convener in that district, Sir, Bhagwan has this ayya, she said, Swami, this ayya has given us drinking water. So please take this money and please use this money to cure and treat my ayya so that he becomes all right soon. So the devotee goes to the extent of safeguarding the Lord, and God's welfare is always uppermost in his mind in true bhakti. And as Swami would say, true love seeks no reward. It itself is its reward. So love doesn't expect anything in return. And Bhagwan once narrated this episode from the life of a great devotee, Radha, about whom Bhagwan would speak volumes about her devotion. And Bhagwan narrated this incident, this episode, to a group of students in an interview. Swami said, when Lord Krishna was about to leave Vrindavan for Mathura, when everyone is assembled there to send off Krishna, Radha is missing. And Krishna comes in search of Radha. And to the utter dismay, I would say apparent dismay, because Lord knows everything. There isn't, anything that he doesn't know of. So his apparent utter dismay, Radha was not sad unlike others. Radha was looking happy. And Krishna asks her, aren't you sad that I am leaving you? Then Radha says, oh Lord, why should I feel sad? Because I see you, I experience you in this every leaf, every flower, and every drop of this water of Yamuna. Why should I feel sad? You are always with me. So the Lord is mighty pleased with the devotee, and he says, Radha, you ask for anything from me, I will grant you at this moment. What do you want? Radha says, I want nothing. Nothing, not even my love. Krishna asks. Radha says, no Lord, not even your love. Because as long as I know that I love you, I have this genuine love for you in my heart. I don't want anything, because true bhakti doesn't seek anything. True love doesn't seek anything in return from the beloved. And here Bhagwan says very beautifully, for a moment the Creator was dumbfounded before his own creation. The Creator was humbled before his own creation because of the true bhakti that one of his own creation, Radha, displayed for her own creator, Krishna. These are some of the various nuances of bhakti. And once bhakti comes in our heart, how we grow spiritually is this bhakti gets expressed itself as selfless service. Bhakti becomes seva because we want to serve the Lord in whatever capacity we can. If not Hanuman Seva, the mighty Hanuman Seva, we want to do at least the squirrel Seva for the Lord. See, one of the roots for bhakti in Sanskrit is bhaja sevayam, which means bhakti by itself is seva. See, look at millions of devotees all over the world under the umbrella of Sri Satya Sai Seva organization. They are transformed by Bhagwan's love, and not only they are transformed, they are doing yeoman service to humanity through innumerable mega service projects all over the world. And look at thousands of Sevadal who come to Prashanti Nilayam every year, year after year, sacrificing so many things, leaving their comfort zone, coming out of their comfort zone to serve here. Why? It is only because of their love for the Lord. And look at hundreds of Bhagwan's students who graduate from the portals of Bhagwan's university. After they finish their studies, they take the path that is less trodden, that is less traveled. They chose to remain in Puttaparthi and they want to serve Bhagwan in various capacities, in whatever way they can. All this is because of only bhakti. So the divine mission of the Lord is held alive and aloft. Only, it is sustained only by love for God. And we all know Bhagwan students, whenever they put up a performance, at the end of the performance, we see in this Gratitude Day programs also, they say, "We love you, Swami." And Bhagwan would also respond by sweetly saying, "I love you too." But in the year 2008, when a group of German devotees said the same thing, "We love you, Swami," at the end of their performance, and Bhagwan gave a little different reply this time. Bhagwan said, "Don't love me, love my message." So, to love Bhagwan is to put into practice the teachings of Bhagwan and live the message of Bhagwan. Here is the Lord who has said, "My love is my message." He also said, "Your life, my life is my message." And he also said, "Your life should become my message." So once in Trai session, Bhagwan was talking to a group of students, and Bhagwan asked these students, "Boys, do you all love me?" "Oh yes, Swami," a big chorus. "I don't think you love me, you only like me." "No, Swami, we love you." Then Swami said, "See, why I say this is, do you have a pet at home?" "Yes, Swami." "Do you feel happy when the pet is around?" "Yes, Swami." "Do you feel sad when the pet is unwell?" "Yes, Swami." "Do you follow the pet wherever it goes?" "No, Swami, we are busy." See, this is the same case with me also. You are happy when I am happy. When I am apparently not keeping well, you are sad. And you don't follow me at all. That is why I said you only like me, you don't love me. Then came the punchline of Bhagwan. See, boys, to love me is to follow me. To follow me is to practice all that I have taught you. To put into practice in your day-to-day life my teachings. Yes, dear brothers and sisters, it is very important to value the master, but we must realize it is far more important to master his values, so that and only then our life becomes his message. And probably this is the highest fruition, the supreme bhava of bhakti that we can all practice. In fact, we have to practice in our spiritual life. And such a bhakti translated into service, into practicing the commands of the Lord, that bhakti earns us the grace of Bhagwan. The Sanskrit word for grace is kripa. Kri means to do something, and pa means to get something. It is only when we do something for the Lord, to please the Lord, when we practice his teachings, when we live his teachings, then we get something in return from him. That is his daya, kripa, and grace. And now I will talk about some of powerful bhakti practices. See, unlike the practices of other sadhanas like dhyana and gnana, the bhakti practices are so enjoyable. They are so full of fun and love and frolic and joy. See, whenever we sing the name of the Lord, whenever we listen to this Prashanti Mandir bhajan singers singing bhajans morning and evening in Kulwant Hall, we feel so blissful. So the bhakti practices are like this. They give us so much enjoyment. Why I say unlike other practices is, see, if we take the practice of the path of meditation, we have to do a lot of hard work. We have to practice yama, niyama, the do's and the don'ts. We have to practice asanas, pranayama, the breath control, pratyahara, withdrawal of the mind. And even in Gnana Marga, we have to do shravana, manana, nididhyasana. We have to learn the truth from the scriptures, contemplate on it, and meditate on it. Whereas the bhakti practices are very simple, and they are equally powerful, and they are very enjoyable also, so that everybody wants to do it all the time. One of the powerful practices is the name of the Lord, the nama of the Lord. Bhagwan would say, Nama Smarana is the means to liberation in Kali Yuga. This name is very powerful. At the time of creation of universe, when there was division of property between God and man, Nara and Narayana, God says, I will keep the form with me, but I will give you the name. So the name that Nara gets from Narayana is a very powerful practice. We can chant the name of the Lord, or we can even do Nama Sankirtan, sing the glory of the name of the Lord. All this is a very powerful bhakti practice. Then comes the Rupa of the Lord, the form of the Lord. Meditation on the form of the Lord is a very powerful practice of bhakti. And even the darshan of the form of the Lord. In the book Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, it is said, when we set our eyes on the form of the Lord, our sins are washed away. Darshanam papanashanam. And we are all so fortunate, so blessed that we have had the darshan of God in human form, the avatara, isn't it? So meditating on this form of the Lord, any form that is dear to us, is a very powerful bhakti practice. And then the other practice is the vibhuti of the Lord. The vibhuti means divine glory. There is an entire chapter dedicated to the divine glory in Bhagavad Gita, the 10th chapter, the Vibhuti Yoga, where Krishna says, the essence in everything is me. And this bhakti practice goes like this. See, whenever we see a beautiful piece of creation, like a beautiful flower, the wonderful sunrise or the sunset, or a majestic mountain, or even a man-made creation like the Taj Mahal, the 7 wonders of the world, or whenever we hear something good, or whenever we see somebody doing something good, in addition to appreciating that goodness or that beauty or the majesty, we must remind ourselves of the Creator who is behind this creation. We must always think, if the creation is so beautiful, how much more beautiful, how much more majestic and powerful the Creator can be. Our attention should naturally go to the Creator, so that we are connected to this Creator, the Lord, all the time. Bhagwan in Kodaikanal once materialized a very beautiful, precious gem, and everyone's attention was drawn to it. Everybody made a beeline to have a glimpse of that precious stone. Then Bhagwan said, see, look at all of you. When you saw my creation, when you saw my materialization, you forgot all about me. You forgot the Creator, and your attention went to the creation. This should not happen to us. The attention should be always on the Creator, even when we see His creation, every moment in our life. This is the practice of Vibhuti of the Lord, and practicing to recognize the Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa of the Lord. Sat, existence, being; Chit is Chaitanya, the awareness; Baba, being awareness, bliss of the Atma, as Swami says; and be, bliss or Ananda Swarupa. See, whatever existence that we come across, we must remind ourselves, it is God who is behind this existence. Swami says, recognize this easiness, Swami says. Recognize that easiness in that existence. And recognize the Chaitanya that is there in your every experience. Whatever experience that we feel, it is because of the Chaitanya of the Lord, the Chit Shakti. See, I am speaking to you here, you are listening to me. How does all this happen? It happens only because of the Chaitanya of the Lord. That we should be reminded of. And in every joy that we experience in our life, from the joy of eating an ice cream and probably to the highest ecstasy in bhajans that we experience, we must know that it is Bhagwan's bliss that is reflected in this joy. So we must recognize this Sat Chit Ananda Swarupa of the Lord all the time in our day-to-day activities. And the last one is recognizing the Ekatvam, the oneness in creation. Swami says, see this unity in diversity always. Swami would say, unity is Brahma, diversity is only Brahma. Everyone you come across, tell yourself, it is God who is present in him. It is this one principle. It is this one water that runs through all the waves of water. It is this one gold that is present in all jewels. It is this one clay that is present in all the pots. It is this one God who is my beloved, who is present in every being in the creation. This is the Ekatvam practice, to be connected to the Lord through bhakti all the time. See, all of us come to Bhagwan for some reason or the other. We want a relief from some suffering or misery. We cry out to the Lord. We send a prayer to the Lord. And Bhagwan, because he is Ahetuka Dayasundhu, he is kindful, he is merciful to us, he is kind to us for no reason, Ahetuka. And he grants our prayers and we become devotees. See, this type of devotee in the Bhagavad Gita is called Artha. And many of us want many things from the Lord. Say, a good comfortable living, good education, a well-paying job, fulfilling relationships. We make, a prayer to the Lord for so many things in the world. This type of devotee is called Artharthi. But both are devotees. But in these two kinds of devotion, in Artha and Artharthi, what happens is, world becomes the goal and God becomes the means. But when we grow in bhakti, we should not get stuck at this level. We should graduate to the next stage of Jignasu and Gnani. We should inquire what is this divinity all about, Gnatum Icha, Jignasa. And when we realize this divinity, the divine principle, we become Gnani. So our goal should be to graduate in bhakti to higher bhavas of devotion. For this, we need a paradigm shift in our thinking. See, hitherto, world was the goal, God was the means. But the shift is God should become the goal and world should become the means. A shift from God for life should be transformed through bhakti into this little life for God. And how do we do this? For this, the first and the foremost, we need to cast aside all our little personal biographies, identification with the body and the mind. I am Mr. So-and-so. I have achieved so much. Number 1, 2, these are my accomplishments. All that has to be kept aside. And the feeling that the bhava that we should have is, I am primarily a lover of God. Everything in my life is secondary. My life is centered on this love for God, and everything is secondary to me. And how do we do this? Bhagwan himself explained this once during his discourse during summer course. Swami took a matchstick and he struck it against the matchbox, and the matchstick immediately caught fire. And then Bhagwan took another matchstick, dipped it in the glass of water which was before him, and then Bhagwan tried to strike this matchstick against the matchbox, and the matchstick couldn't catch fire at all. Then Bhagwan remarked, see, a dry mind that is bereft of worldly attachments and desires, that will catch the fire of devotion easily. So, a wet mind that is steeped in worldliness, you have to dry that mind in the sunshine of vairagya or detachment. And what is this vairagya? Swami himself has said, vairagya or detachment is nothing but sublimating our lower desires for higher and higher desires, and the highest desire of God's love. This is how we develop detachment to worldly things. By increasing our love for God, we decrease our love for the world. So this is how we can all strive to bring this vairagya aspect, which is necessary for certain higher practices of bhakti. For this, Swami says, spiritualize your entire life, divinize your entire life. How? Swami himself gives this threefold formula. The first one is, always think of me, Namasmarana he has given to us. Then, do all work as my work. There is no distinction between Sai Samiti work, my professional work, my job, or my household chores, or my responsibility as a husband, wife, or whatever in this worldly life. Everything is his work. Do it as his work and offer all your actions to me. I will take care of you. Yat karoshi yadashnasi, yat juhosi dadasi yat. Yat tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, whatever you eat, we can chant Brahmarpanam. Whatever you offer in fire sacrifice, whatever you give away in charity, whatever seva you do, and whatever penance you do, offer all that to me. How do we do this? See, in the morning when we go to our workplace, this is only an example. We can all devise our own methods. We can think that we are entering, when we are going to our workplace, we can think that we are entering the temple of God. See, after all, where God is not, isn't it? Every place is his temple. And this person I am speaking to is Swami. And this patient I am treating, this is Swami. And this person who is listening to me right now here, that is Swami. So seeing Swami in everyone and everything is one of the bhakti practices we can all do in our day-to-day life. As Swami would say, hands in the society, head in the forest can be practiced with this. See, once Bhagwan, to the first batch of outgoing MBA students in the in the final interview they had with Bhagwan, Bhagwan materialized a photo, a copy of the photo to each one of the students. And you would have all seen this photo. It is an old black and white photo where two Swamis are facing each other. And the caption is, "He speaks, he listens." Swami said, see, the speaker in you is Swami, and you should always think the other person who is interacting with you, who is listening to you, he is also Swami. Then, looking at the puzzled expression of one of the students, Swami said, I know what is running through your mind. You are thinking, see Swami, the Swami in me is good. I am good. But what happens when the other Swami becomes bad? Swami said, don't worry, my dear boy. Even if the other Swami becomes bad, you retain your goodness. So we should have this feeling that it is Swami in me speaking. It is Swami in him listening. It is Swami in him who is interacting with me or relating to me. That we should practice. And Swami calls this as constant integrated awareness. To see Bhagwan in all persons, in all places, at all times is perhaps the highest, the supreme, the ultimate bhava in bhakti. As Narada Bhakti Sutra defines, sarvada, sarva bhavena, nischintitehi, bhagavan yeva bhajaniya, sarvada, at all times. Sarva bhavena, by all means and ways, nischintitehi, with least anxiety or tension or worry. Think of the Lord alone. When one of our own doctor colleagues, when Bhagwan India came to General Hospital, she asked Bhagwan, Swami, how to increase our devotion to you? Swami said, how do you grow? Nenu pergali ante peragtava? Do you say, I want to grow, and then you grow? Growth just happens, isn't it? The same way, just to Bhagavat Chintana, and devotion in you automatically will increase. And these are some of the things, some of the bhavas in bhakti I wanted to share with all of you. And I would quickly summarize and end with an anecdote. Love for God is nothing but bhakti, and the seed of love in us, in our hearts, is sown by Lord Himself. We have to foster this and translate this bhakti into service and serve the Lord to earn His grace. And we have to remember some of the nuances of bhakti. That is, bhakti is akshaya, it is sneha, it is nitya nutana, it is abhaya, and there is vakrata in bhakti. And it gives us the yearning to please the Lord and also protect the Lord. And also it makes us expect nothing in return in bhakti. And bhakti, the true fruition of bhakti, is surrender, which is essential to overcome maya in our lives. And then bhakti practices are chanting the name of the Lord, meditation on the form of the Lord, reminding ourselves the vibhuti of the Lord, the creator that is behind creation, and Satchid Ananda Swarupa of the Lord, and also recognizing this oneness, unity in diversity. And to graduate from Artha and Artharthi to Jignasu and Gnani, we must practice Vairagya. We must offer everything that we do to the Lord. And most importantly, we must do Bhagavat Chintana. And what does Narada Bhakti Sutra, perhaps the highest treatise on bhakti, what does it say about the benefit of bhakti? It says, Ya labdva puman siddho bhavati trupto bhavati amrito bhavati. Having experienced the love of God, a man, a person becomes trupta, completely satisfied. Siddha, his life becomes fulfilled. And amrita, he becomes immortal. Yat gnatva puman matto bhavati, stabdo bhavati, atma ramo bhavati. His mind becomes still. He has no words to express his love for God. And he becomes matta, intoxicated in the ecstasy of Bhagwan's love. And he realizes that his own self is this Rama, is this divinity. And I would like to conclude with an anecdote which is very dear to my heart, which is my all-time favorite. When a young couple, along with their 10-year-old boy, got an interview chance with Bhagwan. And Swami tells this boy, "Come on, my dear boy, you ask me whatever you want, I will answer you." And the boy, in his boyish enthusiasm, he asks, "Swami, what is your favorite car?" Swami says, "Morris Minor." And then Swami goes on to explain how Swami got his license and how Swami would travel from Chennai to Parthi in his car, driving the car himself. And when the boy is rapt in attention, Swami asks the boy, "Will you give your car to me?" "Oh yes, Swami, take my car, by all means." And Swami says, "Will you allow me to drive your car?" This boy says, "Yes, Swami, you can drive my car." Then Swami touches the heart of this little boy and says, "This is the car I want to drive." So, dear brothers and sisters, if only we can allow ourselves, Swami, to drive the car of our heart without doing backseat driving, that becomes the highest bhava of bhakti. That is the fruition of bhakti. And bhakti becomes the way of life for us. And as Swami would often say, the heart is not a double-seater sofa. It has only one seat. Either the world or God can occupy this single seat. When we love the world, we fall in love. We have disappointments and frustrations. When we love God, we rise in love. There is only uddhara, upliftment for us. So with deepest sense of gratitude, I thank this loving God for this opportunity of sharing some of his lovely teachings here with you all here today. And I also pray to this loving God to grant us, to bless us with the right bhava of bhakti, so that instead of peddling our little lifeboats ourselves, we are able to tie our lifeboat to this mighty cruise ship of Avatara that Swami is. How? Through our bhakti, through our right bhakti bhava, so that Bhagwan ferries us across the ocean of samsara, the Bhava Sagara. And I thank the organizers for this satsang, and I have no words to thank all of you for your patient listening. Thank you very much. Jai Sai Ram. Shall we conclude with Samasta Lokaha? Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Samasta Lokaha Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की।